Hello everybody and welcome to Storytime, Reddit edition. This first story is from r/scarystories, posted by Miller Viller. The Ghost Train. I waited on a covered bench at the train stop, surrounded by fog and darkness, a single street lamp lighting me like a little yellow island in a big black sea. I had nowhere else to be, and nothing to do, because I was dead. I still am, I suppose. The vehicle on which I waited had no destination nor schedule, for the ghost train runs itself. It's not so important how I died. Not to me, anyway. After spending so much of my life obsessed with death, it was a relief to meet it finally. You'll see soon. Now, all I had to do was wait for the ghost train to pick me up and take me on my interminable ride through oblivion. And nobody missed me, that's for sure. I never married, my folks who were mean and bitter were long gone, and the only creature that ever loved me, my dog Alfie, departed when I was a kid. When I was young, I ran away a lot. The streets were cold and lonely, but I liked being at home even less. Sometimes I would scrounge in dumpsters behind the burger place for food. One frigid winter night, I hit the jackpot, a pristinely wrapped double bacon cheeseburger. There weren't even any bugs on it. I felt a nip on my ankles. As I was about to bite down, a small Jack Russell Terrier was looking up at me. The dog was a little mangy, and I could see its ribs sticking through its skin. One eye was green, and the other was blue, with a big brown spot on its face among an otherwise white coat. It was pitiful as it licked its lips, transfixed on my burger. My stomach growled. I thought about shooing the dog away, but I saw myself reflected in his kind eyes and couldn't do it. I sat under the small box fort I had made, split the burger in half, and offered it to the dog. He snatched it up, but rather than running off with it, he snuggled up to my side. We watched the snow pile on top of the surrounding roofs. I remember nobody was driving on the roads that day, and the snow muffled all other ambient noise. It was beautiful and pristine, if only because I had made my first friend. My mom didn't allow dogs in the house, so Alfie and I spent our days wandering around the neighborhood, getting into hijinks. Sure, a Jack Russell wasn't the best guard dog to dissuade the bullies from beating me up, but it made me feel much better when he'd lick my tear-strewn face. We were two peas in a pod. One day we played fetch in the park until my arms got sore. "Come on, boy, let's get going," I said. "We can pick this up later." I started walking away, but Alfie ran up, nipping at my ankles and barking. He did this often to playfully goad me into chasing him around. Usually it would work, but I was exhausted that day. I tried repeatedly telling him no, but he wouldn't cut it out. Finally I screamed, "Alfie, just leave me alone if you're going to be such a goddamn nuisance." I don't believe people when they say dogs don't understand human speech, because I could tell I had deeply hurt his feelings. I tried apologizing, but he ran off crying behind a nearby building. I felt rotten walking down the streets with my head hung low. I didn't hear the dump truck careening over the frozen hill towards me as I crossed the road. It was too late to stop, and it looked like I would soon be waiting for the ghost train, much sooner than anticipated. Then I heard Alfie's bark as he ran headlong towards me from the opposite side of the road. Thanks to his warning, I finally noticed the oncoming danger. It all happened in a flash, but I can see it so clearly in my memory. I dove backwards into a snowbank as the truck swerved away from me and towards Alfie. I'll never forget the sharp yelp as I heard the truck strike him. I rushed over and held him while his little body shook in my arms. I screamed at the men in the truck to get a vat as hot, salty tears streamed down on my frozen red cheeks, knowing damn well it was too late to save him. When he finally stopped moving, I brought him to his favorite spot, a big oak tree at the edge of a vast field in the park. I buried my best friend that day and gave a grim funeral, only me and his memory in attendance. I waited for the ghost train for some time, hoping my ride would never come. That hope was lost when a golden light, just a pinprick on the horizon, grew as it approached me. A massive plume of sinister smog billowed out of the smokestack. The train was slick and pitch black, with a large chrome skull on the grille. It chugged towards me with wicked speed before throwing on its brakes and skidding to a halt, sparks cascading from the sides of the wheels. A towering skeleton in a conductor uniform swung out from the cabin, dangling to the side with one arm.
"Howdy,"
he said. "Who are you?" I asked.
"The conductor."
"I thought the ghost train ran itself."
"It does.
"Oh,
Are you coming?"
do I have a choice?"
"No."
I went to the first cabin, grasped the ornately engraved, shiny chrome handle, and thrust it open. Inside was a raucous party. Everyone was dressed circa the 1920s, sequined flapper outfits, towers of champagne, cigars all around. Everyone was having a wonderful time. The time you could only have with your true friends. I stepped up, but a hulking skeleton wearing a black tuxedo blocked me. "Who are you?" I asked.
"The butler."
He said.
"And you?"
"I'm..."
"Wrong. You're nobody.
the butler said.
The cars are ordered according to the desirableness of the dead, you see. Many people loved old Fitz and gathered here for his eternal party."
"Where do I go then?" The butler took a small scroll from his breast pocket. After unraveling the scroll for what seemed like forever, adjusting his glasses and fingering the text with his bony finger, he stopped at the bottom of the paper.
"Ah, here you are,"
he said.
"Good lord, you were unlikable, huh? Oh, sorry, but come on, you must have known. Anyways, you're in the caboose."
I turned and looked down the line of train cars, extending well beyond the gloomy horizon's curvature. "If this train is as long as your list, it may take a while," I said.
"Oh, fine,"
the butler said. He snapped his fingers, and I appeared at the end of the train. I sighed. The back of the train. I was officially the least loved person ever. Inside it was dusty and dingy, with a slight chilly draft flowing through. After dusting off one of the seats in a booth, I laid my head on the table and started sobbing. I was doomed to ride the ghost train forever alone. Then I felt a nip at my ankle. I looked down, and there he was, blue and green eyes fixated on me, goofy and eager. "Alfie!" I cried. I picked up my pup and held him tightly, tousling and kissing his scruffy head. We sat down and he wagged his tail and licked my face until I keeled over giggling. The train pulled forward and we cozied ourselves into a seat and looked out at the bleak landscape. There wasn't much to see, but I was glad to be doing it with my best friend. Alfie would get excited about any little landmark, barking as I pointed at them. A mountain, a ravine, we even saw a great big oak tree at the edge of a vast field. The door to the cabin opened, and the butler entered, carrying a stainless steel tray with a lid.
"My apologies for the delay, sirs.
He said.
Your dinner is served."
He opened the lid, and inside was a double bacon cheeseburger, cut into two halves. Reunited at last, we ate our burgers and continued our game of I Spy as the ghost train chugged over the endless black landscape. This next one is posted by u/KLG199. Scared Janitor. I have recently started my new job as a janitor. This building has 7 floors. I was doing my round of checking bathrooms, cleaning them and whatnot. I was on the 2nd floor. I was about to be done, just needed one more. I decided to use the bathroom because I needed to go. I sat down and I was on my phone for a while. Then, the spookiest thing happened to me. The lights were motion censored. So if anyone walked in, the lights would automatically turn on. If nobody was there for a long time, the lights would automatically turn off. I was in there. The lights turned off. I thought to myself, okay, this is normal. I've probably been sitting here way too long. This bathroom had 10 stalls. I heard one of the bathroom stalls open. I heard the sound. And then silence. Then suddenly, the door slammed shut. In the dark. I had the courage to take out my flashlight from my phone, and I got up. Once I opened the stall door I was in, the lights automatically turned on. My heart was pounding. I was so nervous, my hands were shaking. I checked every stall door to see if anyone was inside. There was nobody. I thought to myself, if it really was someone, the lights would have turned on the moment they walked in. But this happened while the lights were off. So I realized it wasn't a person. I wanted to leave immediately. But since I started this job, I couldn't leave the bathroom dirty, so I cleaned extra fast the whole time thinking that someone was behind me. It was terrifying. I still work there now. I'm glad someone else cleans that bathroom and not me anymore. Crazy thing is, this was the morning shift. I can only imagine what goes on in the night shift. I really don't want to stay around and find out. This next story is posted by Rude Boy BD. What was wrong with me? When I was still in high school, I remember going to sleep early on a school night, around like 7 p.m., and waking up at 3 a.m. confused. I read the time on my phone and it said 3:30, and for some reason my mind read it at 6:30. And I panicked and immediately started getting ready so I wouldn't miss my bus. 6:45. Threw my clothes on, quickly got ready and left the house for my bus stop. I crossed the street and had already waited in the cold for like 20 minutes when I started to question if my bus was running late. I heard owls around me, and the street I was on was a long empty road with like one streetlight shining on the opposite side of where I was standing. I was basically standing in the pitch black by myself, freezing my butt off. I started getting a weird vibe as the time went on, and I checked the time on my phone third time. I realized then that it was actually 3:50 a.m. and I felt like an idiot standing there. The realization of me standing at my bus stop in the middle of night made my anxiety go up, and I ran so freaking fast back home, scared as hell. From the owls and no cars passing by while waiting just made it very eerie. I wonder what people around thought with cameras. Like, why is this kid standing in the dark with a backpack at 3 in the morning? I was not in touch with reality, and I'm glad nothing happened. What was I possibly experiencing? Well, everybody, that was it for Storytime Reddit edition, and I will see you all next time. Hope you enjoyed.